Hello, we're back. Okay, this is live number 9 today. We're doing 12, so we've got this one and then 3 more. Cam and Francis. And this video, yes, wave, I love it. This video is talking about how Gematria, or Gematria, can you say it either way? I noticed we say it both ways.
Yeah, I know, we do say it both ways.
I say Gematria, you say Gematria.
I've heard people say it both ways.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
So, it's so funny how we do that. I noticed it a couple times.
I even it out. I go back and forth.
You go back. Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. So, how Gematria is often utilized, and then how we use it as a practice in a different way at Cambria, and why that's so important. And it relates back, of course, to several things we've already touched on today, but we felt like it was really important, and we were both really intuitively guided and convicted that it was important to talk about it again. So, jump in anytime, Francis, because...
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, the way that Gematria is most often utilized is that it is used as evidence that the sacred scriptures, in the case of Hebrew Gematria, the Hebrew scriptures, the Torah, in the case of the Greek Gematria, it would be the Septuagint, the Christian scriptures. So, you know, depending on what language it is, and it would extend in different ways. But the going back to the way it's usually used is that as evidence that there's intelligent design or divine design within the sacred text. And that's really, really valuable and important. And because of the amount of research that's been done, so the researchers, the people who have really throughout the ages, but especially in contemporary times, done a lot of work at looking at the divine design and the intelligent design of the sacred texts. It actually has provided just an entire kind of field. Field is really not the right word because it's more of a mystical practice, but you know, an entire
research. I think
research, yeah, an entire research kind of like. What would it be, like a research?
Yeah, it's like it's impossible to exhaust. I mean, you could really tell because, the possibilities are infinite. So, you know, there's like unlimited sort of, your material, it would be, it's impossible to catalog. I mean, you know, it's like...
it's just so extensive. Right. Like you said, it's just...
Yeah.
And so, you know, but so many people have shared, like, what they have done with it and, you know, all of that. So, you know, it's interesting to be able to look at what other people have researched and, you know, reflect on their research and see how it connects with yours. And all of that is how it's been typically used. But the way that we apply it at Cambria, which is what makes this unique. Oh, yeah, say some more.
I was going to add, in addition to it being sort of a kind of demonstration of divine design, of the divine hand at work in sacred scriptures like the Torah and the Christian scriptures and so on. In addition to that, it's actually, I think we were talking about that the other day, that it's very uplifting to people who hold those convictions. So,
right.
You know, it supports, you know, the notion. It's been debated, you know, for centuries about divine inspiration and things like that. So it's very edifying and uplifting to people who hold that conviction. In addition to it being kind of a proof or a demonstration of the source of the sacred scriptures. Sorry.
That's really excellent explanation.
Because I think
so
that's
important.
That's
why it's done so much.
If you look online, and it's like that's the most. I think I would say, you know, a good chunk of it, a very large chunk of it has to do. It's edifying to know that the sacred scriptures, you know, through numerology or gematria, it's sort of sometimes even directly, but indirectly, it's if you can indirectly demonstrate, you know, the divine source of the sacred scriptures. Sorry, it's really edifying for people who hold that conviction.
And that's how it's most often utilized.
That's by and large, I think.
That's the utilization and practice of it. And so one of the things that became really clear to Francis and I was that we were not to do this within a particular religious context or cultural context, that we were to share what was coming through Francis, you know, through the actual gematric practice and the numbers, and me through the intuitive reflection, share what's coming through intuitively to us. And that's why your practice with Gematria is so different, and we're going to explain it a little bit more. It's more the intuitive leading specific to you, or specific to our numbers, or specific to individuals. And there's a really important significance around that we're going to talk about just momentarily. But before we do that, what I just wanted to share was that, so this is why this is an intuitive practice for you receiving your chart, because you receive it and take what resonates. We talked about resonance earlier, but resonance is really important. You take and receive it, and we're not giving it to you in a particular religious or cultural context, even though it's done in Hebrew and Greek against the backdrop of those sacred texts. It's not given to you within that context of the culture or religious background. It's given to you so you can take it in and intuitively interpret in your own intuitive understanding what its purpose is in your life. And it can be in relationship to those particular religious and cultural traditions or not, right? This is an intuitive practice for you. So it's really important for you to kind of know that shift for Cambria, because it directly relates to why we practice it in the way that we practice it, and why we're applying it. And that is this. The practice of Gematria is different in the way that we're doing it at Cambria, because we're taking your name, your life, the birthdays of your loved ones, your children, your ancestors, the birth times, important numbers, important dates, important events, numbers you see on the license plate. It could be the number of your favorite basketball player, like any and all of that. And we're taking the numbers that are prevalent and relevant in your life and applying them gematrically and putting it back onto the scripture and bringing it forward. Okay, explain more.
I mean, maybe another way of putting that is that in addition to it being a demonstration of divine design of the sacred scriptures, excuse me, the way that we're doing it is that it also it's also just as important that it sheds light on the sacred subtext of your life.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could look at your life as this as kind of it's almost like a form of scripture, the sacred scripture that's unfolding. It's not fully written yet, you're still living, and and that's just as important as a demonstration of the sacred subtext. So the Gematria that we're practicing, we're assuming that it's also a demonstration of the divine origins of the sacred scriptures, but it also sheds light on the sacred subtext of your life.
Yeah.
And it's just as important.
Yeah.
Just as those numbers demonstrate that there's divine design behind the sacred scriptures. Sorry, throat's dry. But it's also a demonstration that the divine hand is at work in your life. And that's why things like, you'll find, for me, it's like when it first started, I'll see license plates, my numbers, my credit card numbers, social security, they'll start appearing everywhere. And then, they can enter into, it's really strange, it's really so mystical, because they really enter into your sort of, your numbers, your Gematria.
And oh my gosh, everything that he just said, so eloquent. Oh my gosh. I just love it.
Thank you.
It's so fun to do this. But that's why, coming back to, that's why intuition is so important, because intuition is it's God within us, right? It's our personalized GPS of our soul path, of our unique footprint, of our unique imprint, and our unique relationship specific to us, relationship with God, the divine, universe, source, whatever language you're comfortable with. And it's so important. And that's why actually living intuitively is so important. And that's why the Gematric readings that we're doing at Cambria are about the way that you're living your life. They're specific to you, and they're specific to those in your life. We're totally tapped in to who we are and what we're here to do, then we're actually able to be of greatest service and impact in the world. So is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess maybe I already put it in this way, maybe just to be repetitive, but God is still writing the sacred text of your life.
Yeah.
And that becomes evident in your numbers, in the numbers that's, it's rooted in your name, that's anchored in your credit card numbers, in your birth days. I mean, really everything. God can use everything.
Yeah. And you and God are writing it together, right? Like it's really important that it's that intimate relationship. There's, different ways that people talk about it and describe it, but it's not like outside of us and beyond us and something that's coming at us and we just have to accept it. Absolutely not. We are part of that, an intimate part of that, right? And that's where free will and all the things come in. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Or there's so much to be said about that. It's not a whole nother conversation. It's related, but I think you get it. Like, it's really important that it's personalized and that it's specific. And that's why these Gematria readings are so incredibly powerful, and why we're like, get them, buy them for everyone you know. They're just amazing. Anything else you want to add?
That was it.
Okay, so we will see you in an hour.